Today, we're going to explore several assets or projects that our media team has produced. So as I mentioned, today's presenter, oh, how rude of me. I apologize. I will be your facilitator. I'm Jorge Azucar. Addie will be joining us, and also Megan from Instructional Technology will be joining us. Today, we're going to showcase innovative multimedia services that have been developed right here at Embry-Riddle. Okay, right here at Embry-Riddle. We're going to highlight immersive and engaging original content. That means that it has been produced in-house. So you might thinking of social media, thinking of multimedia. First thing that comes to my mind is, what are the big names that we might be able to recognize? I'm thinking of Lucas. I'm thinking of Spielberg. I'm thinking of Hitchcock. Well, believe it or not, we have our very own. I mean, our panel has also won awards and recognitions for content that they have built here. So today we're really going to have more of a show and tell. Sarah's going to be displaying one of her projects, so will Jenna and Sean. So we're going to present their projects that makes their projects interactive, especially to increase productivity in the pedagogy of our students. But before we begin, a little bit of, I don't want you to feel like someone has hacked your computer. We will be using polls. Addie's going to be assisting us with polling. And so if you see something pop up on your screen, it's not that you've been hacked. It's just that we're doing polls. Please go ahead. We'd appreciate your feedback. And once you are done, please feel free to go ahead and close that pop-up window up. Addie, can you help us out with our first question, please?
Hi, everyone. You should see a poll on your screen just asking, how do you record videos for your course via computer, phone, digital camera, or a camcorder? If you could answer that poll, and then we'll share the results. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and share those results. It looks like we are overwhelmingly recording with our computers. I know I record videos with my computer too, so thank you for that. And that's just a little taste of the polls here on Zoom.
Thank you so much, Addie. With that in mind of recording, speaking of recording, let's take it over to our media producer, Sarah. Sarah, can you please share your exciting presentation?
Sure. Let's go ahead and advance the slide here real quick. So as Jorge introduced me, my name is Sarah Smith, and I am one of the media producers for Worldwide. And this is a project that both myself and Vincent Kecke worked on together. He is not able to make it with us here today, but I just want to give him props. I was able to create the video portion, and then he was able to add in his H5P knowledge, which is basically just a knowledge check throughout. So we'll go ahead and play this. You're going to be able to watch about 30 seconds of an 8-minute asset that we created. Welcome to this exploration of domestic and international regulations governing the operations of the air cargo industry. There are 3 major types of government regulations. Economic regulations are used to balance competition, safety to ensure safety in the industry, and social to support the benefits of air transportation to society. All 3 types of regulations are important to ensure a strong air cargo industry, and we will talk about all 3 in this video. All right, that was just a little taste of the asset that we were able to create. And we created that for LGMT 410. And the original request came in for a new course media asset that would provide students with a basic need to know information about the air cargo industry and its regulations. So we met with the developer, we kind of tossed around some different ideas. He definitely came with the knowledge of understanding where, the students might not have been connecting with this information so much. So he knew that he definitely wanted to lay out certain things. So our outcome after talking with him was that we would create an interactive video asset with an integrated H5P. So it's just basically graded knowledge checks throughout that asset. And we'll go ahead and move on to the next slide here. All right. So what I really want to showcase for you guys today is the fact that using our best practices allows us to create our best products. So for this project, the 4 best practices that were really amplified or really used here was having, number 1, ample time. Secondly, having the developer was super prepared, but he was also really flexible. Third, we scripted with the end in mind. And then lastly, we were able to create a high quality asset that had a really long shelf life. So we'll go ahead and circle back and we'll start with ample time and sort of flesh that out a little bit. We were able to have a good 4 months to work on this project. So that was from our design meeting all the way to our delivery of the asset. That meant that we had lots of time to really talk about what the developer wanted, how we wanted the students to use this, what it meant for the students and how they would interact with this. So having all of that time allows us to really be creative, to think outside of the box, and to really have more fun with it. And then secondly, the developer was super prepared. So like I had mentioned, he knew exactly the information that he wanted to deliver to the students. But he was also really flexible, that he sort of came to the table and said, you guys go ahead, your team, take it to the drawing board and see what you think you can create. Let's be creative, let's have fun. So we were able to toss around a couple of ideas and finally landed on the one that worked the best. And then third, because we had that ample time, because the developer was prepared and we were able to have some of those couple of those different meetings, we were able to really script it with that end in mind. And when we're able to script with the end in mind, we can have a script that really amplifies all of the project, that amplifies the tools that we're going to use. So we're able to make really smooth transitions from video to the H5P knowledge checks. And it really allows the visual and the just the content to be delivered in a more smooth and more presentable way. And then lastly, we were able to create a high quality asset with a long shelf life because we had that ample time. We were prepared, we were flexible, and we scripted. So we were able to use our studio that you can see behind me. We were able to use the studio, the green screen. We had plenty of time to edit, plenty of time to shoot, and also plenty of time to find graphics and B-roll to place over the talent so that it was really interesting and engaging to watch. So just like to leave that with you guys today, that using our best practices allows us to create really great and fun products. So I'll go ahead and toss it over to Sean so he can show you what he worked on. Thank you.
Addie, do you mind actually sharing our second question, please? This will give us a little bit of inspiration and preparation for Sean's presentation. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I just opened up a new poll. It is asking, which interactive features would you like to see more of in online courses? So our options: virtual escape rooms, virtual field trips, course scavenger hunts, or game-based, and you can select multiple options too.
I'm not sure if you know this, but the polls are just one black box. We don't really see anything.
So are you able to select one of the options?
Yes, we can select it, but we can't see the results when you're showing results.
Oh, okay. Let me try. Let's take one more moment and then I'll end the poll and I'll try to share the results again. If not, I'll verbally share the results for everyone. Okay, so I just ended the poll. I'm going to try to project the results.
Ah, perfect this time. Thank you.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, sometimes there's a delay on Zoom. So it looks like here in our results, we have game-based assessments and virtual field trips as the top two. I'm really excited for you all to hear about Sean because it is very similar to a virtual field trip. Go ahead, Sean.
Cool, thanks, Addie. So today I'm going to be presenting on a virtual school inspection that we developed for fire prevention, organization, and management. The developer put in the request to have a virtual inspection that allows students to navigate and find fire safety violations. And the big thing that was a proponent of this was following the module objectives, which were to report findings of a fire safety inspection and then interpret investigation findings. Another cool thing is to help with recall is in a previous module, the students actually created their own list. And so they were looking for things that they created themselves on their checklist. So in the end, we ended up creating a 360-degree virtual environment with hotspots, which allowed them to navigate the school to find the violations. But there also are successes amongst the school as well. So I am going to put the link in the chat where you can explore the school yourself. But I also have a video that will walk us through a little bit. And there's going to be no audio, so I'm just going to be talking. So when you first enter the school, you're in the front foyer, and when you turn to the right, that's where the fire system box is, and then the students can open that and say all systems are normal. So that is a good thing to start off with. And then as the students navigate, there are different rooms that are available to them in this asset. Not necessarily the whole school is available, just like I think there's 2 rooms, a library, a kitchen, and then the foyer and some exits that are the hotspots. And the developer specifically told me what they would want inside the inspection. And that is part of the process in creating something like this, is just knowing your end in mind and knowing what you want to find, knowing what you want students to find. And then in this case, our developer actually used the 360 camera, so he needed to set up some violations in the school itself in order to showcase those. And then I'm going to end with the wins. So this just it helped enhance learning engagement, practical skill development, and critical thinking enhancement. So for enhanced learning, it's just an interactive learning experience that goes beyond the traditional lectures, and it keeps them actively involved. The use of 360-degree images and a virtual environment also helps to stimulate the visual learners. And then also this asset is tied to an assignment, which anything in our department that's created, we highly suggest it be tied to an assignment, because we know that the students are going to be engaged with it. For the practical skill development, so it just helps students in their career. If they're going to be doing this full time, this is something that they would do on their actual job. And then as students complete it, it kind of like gamifies it. It builds their confidence and their ability to perform their real world tasks. Finally, critical thinking enhancement. They must think on their feet, identify the potential safety areas, enhancing their problem solving skills again. And then also decision making, where do I need to go to try to find where there might be some violations. And then next up, we have Jenna, who's going to be talking to us about branching scenarios.
Thank you so much, Sean. Let me go ahead and proceed to the next slide. Awesome. So the title is a reservation encounter. This is a branching scenario activity done in Storyline. But before I get started, I do have a poll question for you all. And that question is, how familiar are you with branching scenario activities? Okay. All right. So we got a little bit of a mixed response, mainly lowest, which is actually great because that gives me an opportunity to talk more about it. Let me go ahead and close the window real quick. All right, so essentially a good way to describe a branching scenario activity is a choose your own adventure type of activity. Maybe a good reference would be going back into the late 90s, early 2000s of my childhood, like the book series Goosebumps. You know how you have to read and it'll give you a prompt and you have to turn the page to get to a certain result, and depending on which answer you choose, you get a different ending. It is essentially like that. So to get started with this project that I created, it all starts with the request, like most projects do. And the request essentially was to explore possible simulation ideas based on scenarios from a course book that they already have. And these activities in this book would be to try to partner with another student to role play with. And in this specific case, it would be a seller and buyer scenario. So think of like customer service. And with that, that actually comes with a story in mind. So knowing that there's a story to start with, it's actually pretty exciting to get started on. And something to note that this was made for MKTG 330. And after some back and forth, we ended up doing a branching scenario activity through Storyline. So give it one moment, trying to get to the next slide. Awesome. So this is a recorded video demonstrating, just to give you an idea of what the activity is like. And in this demonstration, I am aiming for the best case scenario. There's multiple outcomes, but in this video, I'm showing one of them. And you'll see that you will be introduced in a scenario. You are described your role and you meet with a character named Darcy who is trying to reserve rooms. And you are given some choices which will take you to a different path. And depending on the path you choose, you will have various results. And you try to answer certain questions. And she seems pretty happy with my result, but she asked more questions. Now I have to consider some of these considerations that's shown on the text. But overall, she seems pretty satisfied with the customer service presented. And there's the explanation of why the results or why the decisions I chose was actually good. And this activity was placed in a discussion, so students will be able to share their experiences, whether they got a good result or a negative result. And it's nice to be able to compare and see what they could do better. So don't be overwhelmed by the screenshot shown here. This is just giving you a little screenshot of the process in the early production. It's with this kind of activity, it's not like a linear script like you can do with the video or some other type of multimedia asset. In this case, we had to create different pathways and different outcomes. It was a bit of an experimental process because it was the first of its kind, at least for me. So the course developer and the instructional designer that I worked with did a really good job at being communicative and open to experimenting and figuring out solutions. But by the end of the production, I've kind of learned that what really comes down to it is if we answer these 4 questions. So if we can answer, is there a story in mind? What problems do you expect students to run into? What solutions would be available? And what are the outcomes to this, what are the outcomes to the students' decisions? If you can answer those 4 questions, we can get an awesome product that will simulate real life situations, personalize the learning experiences for the students, and also enhance development of critical thinking. So now that I was able to share that with you all, I have an open question for you. Maybe this is something for you to think about and to take away and think about, or maybe you can put them in the chat here. I would love to hear your ideas. So my question is, which subject areas do you believe branching scenario activities would be most effective in? So for example, this activity was used for marketing 330. Are there particular subjects that you could be using it for? Nice. Yeah, definitely. An ethics course. Yeah, safety. And honestly, in my belief, I think there's a lot of opportunities for this type of activity. So it's just a matter of having that conversation with us. Yep, human performance. Yeah, got a lot of good responses out of this. So thank you so much for that. With that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Addie. Thank you so much, guys.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all again for being here today. I was really excited to be a part of this because we get to hear about really wonderful projects that our media team is a part of. So we got to hear about the interactive video from Sarah, the virtual fire inspection from Sean, and then Jenna's branching scenario about the hotel reservation encounter. So in the chat, let's start thinking about what benefits do these learning experiences offer to students. So take a moment in the chat and just either write a couple of words or a short sentence of what are the benefits of these type of experiences for students. Yep, so they're able to take the concept and apply it to real life applications, active engagement, a more engaging way to learn. Absolutely. It's definitely different than the reading and then producing written work. More ways to engage. A pause and direct instruction. Absolutely. So students are able to take charge of their own learning. Better retention of material. Yeah, and it's also just more fun for students. You know, we see a lot of times students just looking for ways to have fun in their courses, especially in this asynchronous online modality. So in addition to some of these wonderful things you all are sharing, a couple that I wanted to highlight, which you all said some of these as well, but the number one thing I think of is that these type of activities really help stimulate recall of prior knowledge. So like what Sean was saying with the virtual fire inspection, students are taking what they learned in prior modules and applying it to this type of activity. But what's also great is these type of activities might also stimulate recall of prior knowledge before this course. So things that they learned of throughout their whole academic journey or even in their career fields. Just like what you all said in the chat, it's an authentic learning experience. It helps transform that material from just the two-dimensional reading and writing type activities to something that students can really apply into the field. It enhances cognitive processing and maximizes concentration. So what that means is students are more engaged and focused on the task at hand. So then they can focus more on what they're learning and see how it connects to the course material. Okay, so let's transition away from students. We have a lot of instructors here. So let's think about, again in the chat, what benefits do these learning experiences offer to instructors? So as an instructor, if these type of activities are in your course, what benefits do they give you? Again, you can pop a sentence or a couple of words into the chat. Yes, it's definitely a unique way to share information. It breaks up the agenda. Yeah, I love that. So it also gives instructors just something else to engage with students. A breakup grading research papers. Yes, absolutely. Different ways to deliver the course content or concepts, more options in how you present information. Yeah, and so reaching students in a little bit different ways and helping them access that material. Yeah, oh, that's really nice, George, a sense of common experiences and even belonging in a community. So yeah, so students do have that shared experience of using one of these experiences in the course. I think about the branching scenario activity, even if there was a discussion afterwards where they're talking about their experience with it, that is a shared experience they now have in the course and that they can connect over. So absolutely. So I also wanted to highlight, as an instructor, when you are grading these type of assignments, it really gives you a specific way to help assess performance gaps and provide really accurate feedback to help students amend those gaps. So for example, if you're doing a virtual fire inspection and you see students are struggling with a really specific part, you can offer that really specific feedback and connect your feedback back to that learning experience. So it's a really great way for instructors to give meaningful feedback to students. And like what was said in the chat, you're breaking up of that grading of those research papers too. So thank you all for these wonderful answers in the chat. As we transition to the next portion, we're just going to open it up for a roundtable discussion. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to discuss opportunities or even potential use, you can put those in the chat, or you can come off mute. It's just a chance to share your thoughts about these assets.
Okay, like Addie was just saying, this is a time to make the chat come alive. So Media Services showed us some great examples of authentic learning through interactive video, virtual inspection, and that branching scenario. So we would love to hear your thoughts and open this time to share experiences, ask questions, and even discuss the potential that these assets can offer in your course. So please do unmute, share your video if you would like. My video, I keep clicking on it, it doesn't want to share. But maybe you'll be able to do it. And I'm also having technical difficulties with my voice, but go ahead and open this up and we will share and talk and make that chat come alive.
Hey, Megan. Hey, panel. Hey, everyone. I do have a question. So I've been part of the development of this Launchpad on the back end, I think for the past month. And one of the things that I think instructional technology and multimedia has been so excited to share about it is that we know we've been in meetings, design meetings with developers and designers, and so many of our developers have amazing ideas. And then they decide that, okay, well, I need a tool or a third-party integration that does this, 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 and this, and it would be perfect. Well, rarely does that exist for a lot of our developers. So I'm seeing with Sarah and Jenna and Sean sharing these assets that whatever ideas that some of our developers have that you've already conceived of in your mind, you can actually make that happen. We have the resources in-house to be able to do a lot of these assets for student engagement in the courses. So I guess my question is for the panel and anyone else too, what are the advantages to our instructors having their own assets created here in-house with our multimedia services team who already know what these assets need to have to be able to suit our specific worldwide courses?
I guess I would say it just allows for like customization, and then a lot of like if the developers have the real world experience, and so they know the specific issues that students would run into in the real world, and so let's use those situations to create these types of assets into our courses, um, and just like help them like get a sense of the real world when they're not at Embry-Riddle anymore.
Okay, so on that, I'm going to call out, and sorry I'm doing this, but Dr. Parker had put in the chat that they used a lot of branching scenarios in the military, especially for cyber awareness training. So again, it's just, reiterating what it can be used for, that real life. So I didn't know if Dr. Parker wanted to speak into that at all about his experience, because I, again, feel it's a perfect example of real life in a safe environment, a real life training in a safe environment.
Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? My obviously my lighting is not reflecting how handsome I actually am today. Has something to do with the sunlight here in Vegas. So, yeah, when the poll question was asked, I thought that sounds familiar, but I'm not really sure. So I made my selection. And then as we were going through it, it was like, oh yeah, we did plenty of those. We did plenty of those. And they actually started out with the branching scenarios for the cyber awareness training. And then they turned into more of gamification for the cyber awareness training, to where as you made those choices, you earned points, you earned badges and things like that, which was very exciting. Of course, I think it may have increased the amount of time we spent. We probably went through, when we first started doing that type of training for annual certification or annual training, we may have spent 30 minutes or so, but by the time I retired, it had evolved so much to where we may have been doing that particular scenario for about an hour or so, but it was so much more engaging. So it really worked. It really did. And I thought, as I was transitioning out, I thought I saw more of the annual awareness training requirements for military members moving to the branching scenario gamification format. Hopefully that's clear.
It was very clear. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good.
All right. Anyone else? Oh, Rachel?
Not so much to build on that particular conversation, other than to say the ideas presented today have been fantastic. My question was in relation to the virtual experience from a multimedia and design perspective. What is the typical build time for, again, I think the recommendation was made in the chat to kind of have some touch points in the 20 to 24 or so range. Just kind of curious what that typical design time frame would be from start to finish. Thank you.
So for our multimedia projects, The instructional designers normally go to a design meeting with a developer, and then once they kind of get a gist of what the course is going to be about or how it's going to be redeveloped, then they'll send a request to our media team. And then from that, once we get the request, we will schedule a meeting with the developer and the instructional designer. And from then till the copy date is about 3 months. So that's about our current like turnaround is like the 3-month process, but it also depends like on our current workload and stuff and how, like I said, if you added more than 24 touch points, like it would take more time as well.
Understood. Thank you. And that's so helpful. Absolutely. Just as we start to think about that course refresh or development process. So thank you for sharing. An unrelated question, but just to kind of out of a sense of curiosity, I think from a faculty perspective, these ideas are fantastic. I would love to see some student feedback from these courses that have utilized some of these different technologies. So again, I saw Marketing 330 mentioned, and just as we go through these different types of exposure of information to students and assessment, again, just would be curious to know that student perspective. If it already exists, please share. Otherwise, like I said, perhaps an opportunity to build that into the feedback loop.
I've definitely heard back from the developer on the virtual inspection, and he says the students really enjoy it, and they actually find things that he didn't see before. So he has to go back in and like add more violations or passing things. So so I think that it's like it kind of like the student is teaching the teacher type of situation, which is cool.
Yeah, I think on my end regarding the branching scenario activity, it was a bit more recent, so I haven't really heard anything as far as feedback goes. I might have to look and see the shell, like the live course, to see if it has run, and reach out to a COA department or like one of the instructional designers that I worked with to learn more about that. But I think if time has passed enough to where I can now probably reach out.
Excellent question, Rachel. I know that part of all of instructional technologists, we also go to these meetings, and I know that very periodically they bring up that we're looking for that authenticity, and that reminds us to look for that authenticity, how students will enjoy more authentic assessments than to just particularly, look at YouTube videos. They also, when we did recently we did a Canvas studio. We did a Canvas studio that was also shared by Helena, that from her feedback also, that the students prefer having that interaction, that little video or that little reaction from the actual instructor also. So it's again, we're looking for authenticity. It's a great and innovative way to get that engagement. That think about when we're part of the learning experience too. It's like we tend to be a little bit more excited when we're clicking around or exploring or trying to find things out that gives us an opportunity to explore. So excellent question. Thank you.
All right, I just wanted to give a little bit more time if anybody had any other questions or comments. But it looks like the chat is slowing down. All right, so I'm going to share some resources with you if you want to dig a little deeper or reach out to media. So I'm going to go ahead and put some links in the chat also, so you have it. But these are the multimedia services, the catalog. You can do a request form if you know you want to get started on something. That's there for you also. And then, as always, academic innovation is here to support our instructors. So for best teaching practices and ongoing professional development opportunities, your RCTLE team is ready to assist you through all phases of your teaching term. So if there's an idea you have and you're not quite sure how to implement it through these assets, go ahead and reach out to them. And then, of course, for all things IT, they are quick to respond to your tickets. And then when navigating these academic tools within your Canvas courses, reach out to Learning Support, and they will be there to help you also. Another great resource is CoDevCon. Again, if you have ideas, want to use one of these assets, this is a great opportunity, an opt-in course developer consultation. This is for course developers planning, developments, redevelopments, enhancement updates, things like adding these assets. And then the appointments can provide support for teaching strategies and just academic technologies. And you'll meet with a member from RCTLE, somebody from learning design or instructional technology, and we'll create a plan to implement these new ideas before kickoff or any kind of update process. So that's there for you also. And then and then also we want your feedback. So this is just a survey about the Launchpad. So you can, maybe tell us things you took away from it, that you liked, didn't like, or things you want to see in the future. There is a QR code to scan, but I've also put the link in the chat in case you just want to click on it and go straight to that. So it's there for you available too. And this helps us prepare for the future too, for anything you want to see again or something new, which leads us to the future. So reminder, stay tuned. Our next one is September 4th at 2 p.m. And hopefully we'll compile some feedback from these Launchpad surveys, and we will have a fun, engaging topic for you. And then just please remember, this presentation is recorded. It will be on the faculty resource site. So you can go back and watch it and see all of our lovely faces and try to remember anything you forgot from listening to the presentation. But those are all the resources for you. And as always, please reach out to us. We're here, we're support. If we don't know the answer, we'll ask somebody in this lovely panel area because somebody knows the answer. So thank you guys so much.